Hi, my name's Alex. I've been working in biometrics for about 10 years. This picture, mostly in the Middle East, this picture from when I was riding on Route Irish, which at the time was the most dangerous road in the entire world. I used to work on a lot of biometric systems in the Middle East. What I wanted to share was some of the common misconceptions with biometrics so we understand this technology. When we talk about biometrics, it actually covers a whole wide field of things, but primarily what we're interested in is fingerprints, face, and iris. Those are the three biometrics that comprise 98% of the practical biometrics that's being used. The first misconception I'd like to start with is that biometrics are new, that this is something that's just recently come to play, and Apple will always have you feel that they invented this kind of thing. In reality, biometrics are not new at all. This picture here is from the early pyramids. This is a fingerprint on a 4,000-year-old clay tablet, and they use this to identify workers on the pyramid. So biometrics have been around for a long time. We've known that there are unique things about the body that can be measured to identify individuals. Only recently have they become really practical with the advent of low-cost computing power. Another misconception is that we match images. We know who we know who this is. We can look at these images, and we can all tell that this is the same person. But in reality, this is not how computers look at faces at all. Computers have to turn them into something else, and these are eigenfaces. So this is how most face matching works. This is how the computer sees faces. You can see these are all in the same orientation. That's how the computer's matching. It's doing a similarity, which is why when we have faces that are in all kinds of different orientations, it's hard for computers to match. Easy for humans, hard for computers. Another misconception is that biometrics are unique, that it's a binary thing. I've identified this person, I haven't identified this person. In reality, it's a continuum. It's not a single measurement that we're making. It's a whole probability-based distribution where we can make comments about different things. This is a fingerprint. This is about a 500 kilobyte image at 500 dpi, which is how fingerprints are collected. There's a lot of information here. We have ridges, we have sweat pores, we have all kinds of information in this particular image. But this isn't what we match. This is what we match. This is the key points of the fingerprint called minutiae. So we basically mark where a ridge starts, where it ends, where it bifurcates, and the core. And that's all we match. It's about 500 bytes. So we've thrown out 1,000 times the amount of information that we had originally. So that's the part that isn't unique, is the actual template. These are fingerprints from identical twins. If you look closely, you'll see little differences in them, but the core pattern is the same. That's because fingerprints are formed in the womb from a core structure and then minor variations as they move around. Another common conception is that we shoot lasers into your eyes. We used to actually do this, but they were safe lasers, and we tried to convince people that they were safe, and people, lasers and eyes just don't go together. You can't convince people that that's safe. So what we do now is we take a picture of your iris. So it's just a regular camera. We use a little bit of IR illumination, but all cameras do that. And we look at the colored part of your eye, turn that into sort of a binary representation of the iris, and then match that completely and totally safe. Another conception is that thieves will steal your body parts in order to do your biometrics. This is from the movie Demolition Man. First of all, eyeballs don't stay like that if you take them out of the head. So that doesn't work, so don't try it. In reality, there's only been 1 or 2 cases that I've been able to find of thieves trying this, and it generally doesn't work. Most biometric systems today have what's called liveness detection, and this is called the gummy bear attack that I'm showing here. That doesn't work either. There's lots of different things that we can measure to be able to tell whether this is a real person's biometric. It's not perfect, no system is perfect, but they're pretty good. Another conception, everybody knows what this building is now because it's been on the news all the time, is that the government has all your biometrics, already. They're just collecting massive amounts of biometrics, and that's generally true, but it's really only in specific cases. So the FBI has 74 million records. It's criminals, government employees, military. If you get a background check through the FBI like you're a teacher, they don't hold on to it. DHS has about 130 million records. This was a few years ago. It's probably closer to 200 million. These are foreign nationals that come into the U.S. So unless you're one of those, they won't have collected your biometrics. Another conception is that we're always, the government's always monitoring your biometrics. This is from the movie Stealth, where they measured somebody's iris from 30,000 feet, which would be really awesome, but it's really possible. Right now, state-of-the-art biometrics, you have to touch things or be cooperative. You have to cooperate with the thing that's collecting your biometrics. You have to put your finger on a sensor. You have to hold still for the picture. And that's not going to change for probably 5 or 10 years at least. Another common misconception is that biometrics are a threat to privacy. And this is one of the most common misconceptions that I want to really address here. This is from Minority Report. We're all going to have a police state where all our biometrics are monitored whenever we go anywhere. In reality, what I'd have to say about this particular one is that, yeah, of course it is. Biometrics is absolutely a threat to privacy, but like so many other threats to privacy, it's something that can be managed. It's a technology that has benefits, it has downsides, but we have to understand what it does and what it can do and what people are doing with our data in order to make it work.